Welcome to the second episode of In the Club, and this is filmed in Boys and Girls Club. I'm Serenity.
And I'm Michaela, and today I don't really think we have a topic about what we're going to talk about, but there is something on my mind about a Boys and Girls Club staff member who who was using the phrase, are y'all TikToking? Like, y'all be TikToking? Like,
what is TikToking?
I don't think that's a
What is
phrase.
TikToking? I'm so confused.
Like, I don't know anyone in this new age of
humans
who talk about TikToking. Is that a phrase at all? Have you ever heard that before?
No, I hear let's do a TikTok or come on, let's TikTok, but I don't hear TikToking. Like
TikToking?
I don't hear that ever.
Like ing added after it to like.
Oh no, it's not the ing, it's the in.
TikTok.
There's no G.
In.
There's no
TikTok
G, Michaela.
not TikToking. TikTok
exactly.
in.
No G.
So like 90s reference.
Yeah. No G.
I don't know anything about.
I figured. Let's kind of branching off of that. Explain to me why if I text any of the adults in my life, and I mean any of them, if I text them LOL or IDK, why do they always be like, what's that supposed to mean? It's like, have you never seen that before?
It's because like they text like emails, like they text on your phone like emails, even though like they're short phrase.
The amount of paragraphs I've gotten is sad.
You just text K after that.
Mm-hmm.
That's all.
Oh, one time I texted my mom K, and she was like, "Don't you K me?" So I went KK. I'm so smart.
I feel like on the keyboards, you know how you can like it already autocorrects you and like what you're saying, and it has like suggestions like at the top and like 3 different suggestions on what they think the word is. Mm-hmm. I think they should like do that, but like for phrases like IDK, LOL, IDEK, like WYMD, TTYL. Yeah. I think they should already have that an option on phones.
Yeah.
For
my phone does have it as an option.
It does?
My phone
because
does have that
you
as
use
an option.
it recently, but like
no,
if you
I use
like
that
have
all
a
the
new
time.
phone.
The funny part about that whole thing is if I text especially my grandma, I don't know why, but if I text my grandma any sort of abbreviation, she's always like, you better spell this word out. I'm like, okay. And I end up spelling out a sentence when I could have wrote four letters.
4 letters?
Four
That's
letters.
all. I mean, all the abbreviations that we have today, like, an example, I'm going to butcher this by saying it, not in the correct term, but like people saying cap. Just like, oh, yeah, I have 5 girlfriends, 3.
And then somebody from the back of the classroom who you've never heard speak before.
Cap.
That's cap. From the back of the classroom.
And I was talking to my little brother about something, and he told, like, I was saying something to him, and he said cap. And my mom said, what do you mean cap? My brother said cap. She's like he said something like, Mama, you're capping. You're always capping, Mama. Mama, why are you capping? And my mama just looked at him so just crazy.
The fact that our brothers are friends does not surprise me because one time I was telling my mom a story, and out of nowhere, my brother comes out the kitchen and goes, cap. My mom was like, what does cap mean? And he's like, cap. I was like, child, that's not what cap means. Just out of nowhere, popped out of the kitchen that I didn't know he was in and went, cap. Like, where did you get, where? Like, where did you come from and why are you in the kitchen? It is 9:00 at night.
I got my mom to say the phrase now. So every time I say something, she says, Michaela, why are you always capping?
Oh, no.
And she doesn't say, like, how people say. She's like, Michaela, why are you always capping? Like, she brings out the G. Why are you always capping?
I don't think you're supposed to bring out the G. I think the G is supposed to flow with the rest of it.
So,
bringing out the G reminds me of crescendos, and I don't know why, but it does.
Who is that?
Crescendos in orchestra.
Crescendos?
Crescendos. Michaela, when you get louder in music.
How does that remind you of G?
Because you bring it out like you would bring out the music notes in G. The music notes like you would G. I don't really know. That's what I think about every time. Maybe I just am too invested in orchestra. I don't really know.
I mean, it's a good thing to be invested in orchestra, but you got to invest a lot of money
for
the instrument.
That's true. There's at least over $10,000 in that orchestra room.
10,000. Oh, for all of the cellos, basses,
the cellos, the basses,
violins,
the violins,
violas,
violas, the bows, the rosin,
the strings, the fingerboard. I don't think the bridge cost that much, but
not really. I had a kid in my class break his scroll of his instrument off,
which is like the top part for people who don't know orchestra.
It's like the very, very top part. It looks like a spiral. But I think it was like $75 to $100 to replace that. And it's like, yeah, that kind of holds all your strings in place, buddy.
Like the scroll is like really thick at the top. Yeah. How did he break it?
Some of the people in my orchestra classroom are not the brightest people. So they were running around using their instruments as lightsabers, like from Star Wars. And
their violin and violas?
As lightsabers from Star Wars. And I wasn't going to tell them that they could break their instruments because y'all are going to find out the hard way. So they did. 15 minutes later, they were still chasing each other around, and somebody knocked one of them into the wall. And he knocked into the wall, and he put his hands out in front of him to try and catch himself, but he had his instrument in his hands, so he slammed himself and his instrument against the wall, broke the whole scroll off.
I'm trying to visualize that. That's hard to visualize. So he, like, broke the scroll of his instrument, like the very top part of his instrument, by hitting a wall. Like running into the wall?
Oh, no, he was like zooming. He was trying to zoom. Like, our orchestra classroom's pretty long. And he was going from the end. There's one end that has the door, and the other end has where we keep our violins and violas. And he was trying to run as fast as possible from the side where we keep our instruments to the door. And in doing so, he forgot that the door was closed. And there was somebody standing in front of the door. And so he's running as fast as he can. People are trying to hit him with their instruments, which I still don't understand why you'd use that as a lightsaber, but that's beside the point. Anyway, so he's running as fast as he can at the door, and then somebody sees him and gets out of the way. He thought that person was going to catch him. I don't know why he thought that person was going to catch him. That person's not going to catch you, dude. But he slams into the door as hard as he can. Whole scroll comes off. It was I'm not going to say entertaining. It was very sad because I watched his instrument break.
And you just saw millions of, like, not millions, but like a lot of money just
saw the amount of money pouring out
just of the on instrument. That broken scroll in slow motion as it hits the ground. Just
as it slowly drops to the ground. It was very sad.
Was this in your 6th grade or 7th grade year? Like
6th.
6th grade?
He doesn't do orchestra anymore.
First got your instrument. Very first got your instrument.
Literally, it was the first week of school.
And they thought that it was funny to get their instrument?
It wasn't the first week because we didn't have our instruments the first week. But the very first time we played, within the first 4 times we played our instrument, so they were chasing each other around with them like lightsabers. And it's like, you do know those are expensive, right?
I don't think they did if they're chasing it around. Maybe they thought it was like the price of a ukulele or like a guitar, like when you smash it on the ground like you see in rock and roll.
Oh, speaking of guitars, my stepbrother one time, trying to barricade himself in his room, took one of my father's guitars, propped it up against the door, and when my dad broke the door down, he broke the guitar. What my stepbrother didn't know is that guitar was his grandfather's guitar.
Oh.
Like, he only had 2 guitars from his grandfather, and one of them had been passed down to his dad that was passed down to him. Both his dad and his grandpa are not alive anymore. So that one guitar that was just his grandpa's that he got from his grandpa before he died was really important to him, and my stepbrother propped it up against his door, and my dad accidentally shattered it when he like busted the door down because he refused to come out of his room, and his room had a door leading to the backyard, and we had a big dog at the time. I don't know why I had such a big dog in such a small house. But
what breed was the dog?
He was like a golden retriever, I believe. He was really pretty, but he was really big, and he was my stepbrother's dog, but to let him out, he had to go out the back door because if he went out in the front yard, we would never find him again. Like, he ran. Although my cat, I don't know why my cat, but he loves to climb trees. Loves. utterly
like in
adores
cartoons
it.
and movies that you see,
Uh-huh.
does he get stuck in the tree or
No.
he climbs right down
One
like a
time we
squirrel?
were looking for him. It was like 4 o'clock in the morning, and we just woke up and we were trying to feed the cats. And I'm not gonna say that my cat, the one that likes to climb trees, I'm not gonna say that he's thin, because he's definitely not thin. But he apparently he got outside the night before, but I wasn't really worried about it because the dude loves outside, absolutely loves it. So he was outside, and I went to open the door, and well, actually my brother and my dad had both gone outside before I did, and like looked around our front yard and like looked up and down the street and couldn't find him. And then I walked outside, looked at our neighbor's yard, looked up and saw him in their tree, like their front yard tree, almost all the way to the top. I was like, boy, if you don't get out of that tree.
Did you like call him down, like, or did he just come down like voluntary on his own?
No, I had to call him down, because if there's one thing I know about my cat, when he gets in a tree, he ain't coming out unless he has to. So I just brought a bag of treats with me. He got out of that tree so fast.
So the guitar, the dog was doing what with the guitar? I had completely forgotten because you were talking about your cat that was stuck in a tree.
So the dog didn't do anything with the guitar. The dog so apparently he'd propped the guitar, my stepbrother had propped the guitar under the door handle so that my dad wouldn't get in, and then he left his dog outside so he wouldn't stop barking. So, because every time, heaven forbid, a car drove by, or he saw a squirrel in the neighbor's yard, or there was a bird on the grass across the street that he saw, it was over. He was so loud, and my dad was tired of hearing him bark. So we went to go open my stepbrother's door to let the dog in, and it wouldn't open. And so he tried to unlock it, and he unlocked it, and it still wouldn't open. So we pretty much took the door off its hinges. Not like with tools. He's like broke the door down.
Just smashed through the door?
He Hulk smashed through the door. And he heard something crack. Turns out he heard the guitar crack. And he let the dog in, and when he turned around to go back out of the room, he saw his guitar in 2 pieces on the floor next to the door frame.
Do any of your family members like know how to play the guitar? Have they ever took lessons?
My dad knows how to play, and my dad's trying to teach my brother how to play, but it's not going very well because we don't really see him a lot. So teaching my brother how to play guitar is like trying to teach me how to do a cartwheel. It doesn't work very well.
On the subject of instruments, if you didn't choose orchestra or your viola, do you think you would have chose a different instrument in an orchestra, or like a different kind of musical fine arts? No?
Fine arts, maybe. Orchestra or band, probably not. I probably would have done like acting or something like that if I hadn't have done orchestra.
I know a lot of orchestra kids don't like band kids, and band kids don't like orchestra kids.
Listen, a friend of mine, his name's Bennett, he said this. There's a difference between band kids and kids in band. There's also a difference between orchestra kids and kids in orchestra. Kids in orchestra are just there so that they have an elective that they don't have to do work in. But people like you and me who are orchestra kids genuinely care about orchestra. We're putting in the extra tutoring practices. We're doing the after school and the weekend activities. We're helping Miss Hernandez with literally whatever she needs. Miss Hernandez is our orchestra teacher. But if she has a orchestra event that she needs us to volunteer for, then we're like, sign me up. I'll do it.
And does the same thing go for band kids as well? Like,
yeah, there's I've definitely heard from my friends that there's kids in band who will just sit there and not do anything. But then there's also band kids that I know. These people are high schoolers, but there's kids in band that I know that are like wholehearted band kids. Like they've spent the last 2 years in marching band. They've been playing their instruments since they were in 6th grade. They've gotten so far on their instruments. They know how to do all of these things with their instruments, which hopefully I will learn how to do with my instrument. But there's definitely a level of caring, I guess you could say, with orchestra that you have to be able to make it memorable.
Because you have to keep on going and going without giving up, because maybe you're like frustrated with the part of your music that you don't like, or maybe it's really hard for you, but if you like really like love orchestra or band, like you can really push through and past that and just like get really good and better at your instrument or whatever you play. You don't believe that you would play any other instruments, really?
I really don't. But speaking on kind of what you said earlier about the frustrating music part, there's two of our songs at the moment that all we do is sit there and play short quarter notes. We just go da 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 the whole song. And it's like I'll do it, and I'll do it with a whole heart and a lot of love, but like that's just a lot of just moving very subtly. Not to mention, can you vibrato? Vibrato is kind of like how do you
like from to like shaking like your instrument?
Shaking, yeah. Can you vibrato?
Oh no,
I can. I have to do it on Saturday. So Saturday's a solo and ensemble concert for orchestra.
What is solo and ensemble?
Solo, I think it's kind of the same for all things, I guess I should say. Solos is one person playing one song, and it's you. This solo and ensemble thing is where you are paired with a different teacher in the ISD school district that is an orchestra teacher. And then you play your piece, and then they give you notes, and they give you ways that you could possibly improve on your playing experience. And then ensemble is more than one person, because ensemble is an umbrella term, I guess I should say, for duet, trio, quartet, which I'm a part of. And I think that's as far as ensemble goes for solo and ensemble. Yeah, duos. So solos, duos, trios, quartets.
I know the 7th graders are doing quartets, right? They are?
Well, I believe there's 2 trio groups, a duo group, 3 trio groups, a duo group, and a quartet. I am part of the quartet, along with my friend Angela, my sister Addison, and a friend of ours, Connor. I play a viola, Connor plays a viola. It's like lower violins. Addison plays a violin, and then Angela plays a cello, and that's just a lower bass. Or not a lower bass, a higher bass. Not a lower, a higher. Smaller and higher.
Than the bass, because the bass is really low.
The bass is really low and really big.
I think you guys got the ensemble part of the solo and ensemble because the 8th graders are only doing their solo parts. We don't have any other partners or anyone that we're working with specifically. So I think just the solo part is us and the ensemble are you guys, and it's going to be like a collaboration, kind of like clashing between the classes.
I know there's like 2 or 3 people in my class who are doing solos, but that's about it that I know for 7th grade, because there's only one 7th grade class and one 8th grade class, right? Yeah, I think there's only one 8th grade class.
There is.
And one 7th grade class and 2 6th grade classes. And I've noticed something about these is there's a lot of kids coming in to their 6th grade year with all these high hopes and thinking they're going to play orchestra all throughout, and then they realize it's not for them, which is perfectly fine. I get something not being for you, and then they don't do it next year.
They like drop like flies, huh?
Yeah, it's kind of like a do you like it or not. 6th grade is really a trial run of can you understand middle school, and is it going to be a memorable experience that you're going to enjoy, or are you going to have to find new people?
Trying to kind of like see whether you're interested in something or not, and seeing like what interests you.
Yeah.
So
I think that's it on this episode of In the Club. I'm Serenity.
And I'm Michaela. And we end on the topic of basically what interests you in middle school and how
pretty much
you could apply this to like what you want to do in your future.
Yeah, just remember, never, ever give up. I don't care what anybody says. You do not give up on what you want to do, because they will not be there supporting you later.
Oh.
If they tell you that you're not going to do anything with your life, that means they think that you won't, but you must prove them wrong. Right.
On a good note. Okay.